This is the city, full of sleazeballs, jerks, and buttheads, taking unfair advantage of their fellow man. But now there's someone to turn to, who'll give them what they deserve. Justice, retribution, payback. Mr. Payback.
You're him?
Who is Mr. Payback? He's part man, part cyborg, and 100% Avenger. And he's coming exclusively to theaters equipped with Interfilm's revolutionary interactive button control system, where you, the audience, choose every step of his adventure.
Give it to me now, man.
You, the audience, choose who he runs into and what he does to them.
Like this, you do this, right? Like so, and then you do this. This show is all about making choices.
You choose a case with a client and villain.
I've been cheated out of my home and my land by boss Jim Conklin. I was framed to work for my racist boss, Ed Jarvis.
I'm a student at West Bay College. I'm being sexually harassed by Dean Wyatt.
Decisions.
You choose all the ups and downs. And finally, you, the audience, choose the ultimate payback. Creator of Back to the Future comes Hollywood's first interactive movie. Starring Billy Warlock.
Oh no, I have your routine down.
Bruce McGill.
Are you threatening me?
Leslie Easterbrook.
That is my final word on the subject.
Holly Fields. And Christopher Lloyd as Ed Jarvis.
Let's try it, shall we?
Sony New Technologies, in association with Interfilm, presents Mr. Payback. Revenge has never been so much fun.
Yeah, needless to say, there was not a whole lot of theaters equipped with that specific stuff that they needed to make this movie be seen in a ton of theaters. I mean, the gimmick there is basically, you kind of see it there. It's designed as an interactive movie. They have basically 2 hours worth of footage, and approximately 20 minutes of it is what's shown in every single viewing of it. Basically, you have the audience vote for various directions the story will take, using a joystick attached to the armrests of the seats. And it's basically Choose Your Own Adventure, the movie, except the Choose Your Own Adventure books that these movies are kind of based off of are much more enjoyable, and they're much more intriguing, or at least much funnier in the way that is, besides how this movie plays it out. I mean, you basically have a thing here where it's an interesting concept, but not the way it's presented here. I mean, you're basically just watching this vigilante android, that's what they describe him in the description here, who is basically taking action by humiliating and attacking people who have committed crimes or have done wrong in the past. You have these different storylines. You have 3 different storylines you can go. You can choose to upset or setting a selfish car jerk by slowly disassembling his car, setting a bike thief's clothes on fire, eating a gang member's knife, just some of the various things you can do here, and it culminates in this game show sequence hosted by this android, where you basically just watch somebody's stuff somebody gets destroyed, somebody's stuff gets destroyed, somebody gets humiliated, and like I said, it'd be more interesting if the thing was actually more interesting or funny to watch, but there's nothing really about this movie that's worth it at all. Like, none of these things that they're doing is anything unique or interesting or even exciting on any level, and it's just not really that great. Like, it's not something that really deserves all this talent here and all this effort to go into this. If you're not going to figure out a good story to tell with this setup, it's not worth doing at all. Like, you know what it kind of reminds me of? There was a game on this, I think it was the 3DO, called Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. AVGN covered it, and it was pretty much kind of that same concept too. It's this game that is meant for mostly general audiences. Pretty much anyone is, but okay, maybe not general audiences, but mostly teen audiences. I think it was like 16. I think you had to be like 16 or so to play it, but it had that same kind of feel to it. It felt like a game that was trying way too hard to be more adult, and just did it in like the unfunniest ways possible. Like, what they were trying to throw at the wall, that's how they were going to get you to laugh. And this movie feels very much like that. And I think it came out around the same time this did. The jokes in here are nothing but bathroom humor. The stuff they do here to try to get your attention, there's lame attempts at like attempts at sexy like getting these sexy women to dress up in lingerie and all that type of stuff. Dominatrixes come to play here. Nobody in this movie is written well at all. It's a shame to have people like Christopher Lloyd, Leslie Easterbrook from the Police Academy movies, Bruce McGill. Like, there's prominent names in this movie, but they needed something a whole lot better than this. Like, none of these moments in this movie you feel like you're getting any value out of. Everything's just kind of like, it's just like sticking stuff on the wall and seeing if it works, and it doesn't work on most levels. And the sad part is, this is written by the same guy that co-wrote Back to the Future. I mean, the Back to the Future trilogy is a great series of films, and the scripting reason is the reasoning why. It's amazing how low this guy went for it a little bit by making this movie. He probably had an ambitious idea with this, but he just had to rush this out there. And I really don't think this would have sold on a wide front anyway, because you're basically sitting in a movie theater for 20 minutes, and then you're done. Like, they tried to sell this as like a thing where you're sitting there to watch a whole movie, but you're only there for like 20 to 30 minutes. So what's the point? Like, what's the end result of this whole thing? But it's just like, it really doesn't work on any level. It's an idea that could be very interesting, but just the execution and just the way it's presented just doesn't work at all. It's a huge misfire on so many levels. Mr. Payback. So, let's move on to the next movie I have on this list here, Little Odetta.
There is a small world of family, close friends, and mortal enemies.
Get up! Fuck up! What'd you tell about me? Nobody. Don't insult me, I'll cut it off.
A world where loyalty is undying.
But I've heard rumors about that mongrel of a son of yours. I will hold you responsible if he's here.
Or Little Odessa. What do I call it? Little Odetta. Little Odetta, oh boy. Most notable thing about this movie is the directorial debut of James Gray, who has been best known for directing films like The Yards, We Own the Night, Two Lovers, The Lost City of Z, Ad Astra with Brad Pitt. He's got a new movie coming out soon, that just came out, I should say, Armageddon Time, which I have not seen. And I have not seen this movie, though, but you got Tim Roth in the first of two movies we're going to be looking at on this particular show. Edward Furlong, Moira Kelly, Maximilian Schell, Vanessa Redgrave. The title is a reference to Brighton Beach, where this movie takes place, in a community in Brooklyn named Little Odessa. But I haven't heard too much about this one. It's not got bad reviews for it. It's kind of like got mixed reviews on it. So I really don't know if this movie actually is worth it or not. But it definitely could be something interesting. Usually Tim Roth doesn't usually pick a lot of bad movies, honestly. So I don't believe that this would be a terrible, terrible movie. A great film? Probably not. But that's pretty much all I know about that one. So that's Little Odessa. Next movie, Sam Elliott starring in Country Life.
Jurassic Park's Sam Neill and the Players' Greta Scacchi in an outrageous romantic comedy. She came to the country for peace and quiet, but she started an epidemic of spring fever.
Caught with your pants down, IMAX.
Even a doctor couldn't cure.
The thought of you is the only thing that keeps me going. Let go of me.
Good God, you're supposed to be a medical man. There must be something you can suggest.
You could try dried kangaroo dung.
Siskel and Ebert give it 2 thumbs up.
Cheers.
And the Chicago Tribune says it's great fun.
Come on, give us a kiss.
You keep your hanky-panky for others.
Country Life.
You also have Greta Scacchi from Lethal Weapon, John Hargraves, Google Withers. This is the film that's adapted from the play of Uncle Vanya by Anton Chekhov, which is actually the second one within the last year that we've seen based on that story with Vanya on 42nd Street. Period piece movie. Don't really know too much about it, and it doesn't look too bad either. It's kind of like the same thing with Little Odessa. Like, I haven't heard too many bad things about it. I haven't heard too many great things about it either, but I don't think it's going to be that terrible. It doesn't look that terrible, honestly. So, other than that, I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't really say too much about it. So, that's Country Life. Let's move on to the next movie, and that is Double Happiness.
The two people go out. They talk. Get to know one another. Bowl. Well, that kind of stuff.
All I can say is that my life was very complicated.
Single mom. Double mom.
Well, obviously you deserve to be better treated.
So you see Sandra Oh from Grey's Anatomy, Sideways, Arliss. This is actually the first movie she ever starred in the leading role, and she plays an actress struggling to assert her independence from the expectations of her Chinese-Canadian family, with Callum Keith Rainey playing her love interest in this movie. And I couldn't find any trailers for this, but I mean, it looks like it could be a fun little romantic comedy, kind of reminiscent of sort of like Before Sunrise in a way. It kind of reminded me of that a little bit. I don't think it's on that same level, but it could actually be something pretty interesting. Sandra Oh usually picks a lot of good roles in her career, and I don't deny that this probably is a good movie, and I see it's got some pretty good reviews on it, so maybe it is actually something that could be a lighthearted romantic comedy in a way, but could be a good romantic comedy with a little bit of dramatic elements to it. So, again, I haven't seen it, so I can't really say too much about it. So that's Double Happiness. On to the next one I have here, The Run of the Country.
How long do you think I'm going to hang around here serving up your food, wearing this apron?
It's a pity because it suits you.
I've run away from home. I'm not going back. I know what you're looking for, lad. When the women see me coming, they run. They can tell at a glance my sperm count's way above normal.
Live in hope, die in despair.
One of Peter Yates' two movies from 1995. We already covered Roommates. The story here, you follow a political and generational conflict in a teen romance and coming-of-age story in Ireland. You have Albert Finney as a policeman who he lives just south of the border between North Ireland and the Republic, and he hopes for just one more murder to solve and make himself famous. And his real concern, however, is that his relationship with his 18-year-old son, Danny, has been strained since the recent death of his wife from a heart attack during a domestic quarrel. So Danny blames his father for his mother's death and resents his father's bullying ways. So he moves in with his best friend. Danny then falls in love with this beautiful red hair woman, and the conflict with his headstrong father comes to a boil at that point. That's pretty much really all I know about this movie. I just read you the plot right there. I really did not know this movie even existed before I looked it up, but Albert Finney usually is very good. You got David Kelly, who was Grandpa Joe in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Doesn't look too bad either. It kind of reminds me a little bit of a Banshees of Inisherin type of feel to it, and it has very much the same. Looks like it has very much the same qualities of the same style of Roommates, I should say. But I'm just going off of this one trailer here. It looks like it could be a decent film. Really, pretty much any of these movies that I have on here look like could be decent films that I haven't seen. But yeah, another quick one there. So that's The Run of the Country. Let's move on to the next movie, The Horseman on the Roof.
Provence, France, 1832. An epidemic sweeps the nation. A revolution divides the people. He is a renegade, hunted by assassins. She is a countess, whose mission is a mystery. From the Academy Award-winning makers of Cyrano comes a glorious new adventure.
Directed by the same man that did the 1990 version of Cyrano de Bergerac, although they call it Cyrano, just that for some reason. You got Juliette Binoche, Olivia Martinez, who would later be seen in SWAT. You have, what else is in here? Gerard Depardieu is in here in an uncredited role. And that's just, again, haven't seen this movie, but it's one of those movies that was on the list of notable films in '95, so might as well cover it. So, I mean, doesn't look bad either. Like, again, most of these movies do not look that bad, honestly. So, that's The Horseman on the Roof. So let's go through another one real quickly. Reckless.
Presents Mia Farrow in her best performance since Rosemary's Baby, with Scott Glenn, Mary Louise Parker, and Tony Goldwyn, in a film that has critics giving 3 cheers. Rachel is having a very Merry Christmas. Her husband has a surprise gift.
I took a contract out on your life.
That is the sickest joke.
I didn't even know this movie even existed. There's another one that I never knew existed until I looked it up. But judging by that trailer, that really did not sell this movie too well. It looked like a movie that... It looks like one of those direct-to-video movies. Like, I think Mia Farrow actually did a couple of these back then. Like, she was in Rent-A-Kid, which was a direct-to-video film that I remember. or even something on the lines of Serial Mom, which, not Serial Mom, Trading Mom. Serial Mom's a completely different movie that I'm thinking of. No, Trading Mom, which had Sissy Spacek in it, but it kind of feels like a movie that doesn't look like a movie that was meant for theaters. It looks like something that was meant for straight to television or a video release, but I will say, though, it looks really bizarre, but my interest is kind of piqued on it. The story basically is that on Christmas Eve, a regrettable husband admits to his high-spirited wife that he has hired a contract killer to take her out, and she flees. The couple opens a shelter for her, but everybody has dark secrets in this movie. It looks like it's trying to sell stuff as kind of a screwball comedy in a way, and maybe that's part of the reason why I'm very curious about it, because as much as I don't think this movie looked like it was meant for theaters, it does look really interesting. Like, it looks visually, stylistically pleasing. Like, it looks very interesting in terms of the style, the visuals, and you got a good cast to it. Mia Farrow, Scott Glenn, Mary Louise Parker, Tony Goldwyn, Stephen Dorff, William Fichtner, Mary Louise Parker, Eileen Brennan. Some notable names in here. Just the style. It looks like it takes place inside of a snow globe, honestly. Ooh, excuse me. But yeah, it's definitely a weird movie. The trailer, I think, makes it look even worse than it probably is. But on a visual level, it actually looks pretty impressive, and my interest is definitely piqued on it. So who knows? Maybe this holiday season I'll definitely check it out. But I will say that the trailer didn't look pleasing all that much, but just the style of it alone looks very interesting. And it looks like it could be something that might actually be kind of decent. I don't know for sure, but my interest is definitely piqued on it. So, Reckless. So let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is 4 Rooms.
Okay, Ted, what's the problem?
I haven't got a problem. I've got problems. Plural.
My children are staying here tonight watching TV.
Get a bottle opener.
If something happens to my children, it will want to be you.
The 5 of us are a coven.
A coven of witches.
An oven full of witches?
A coven of witches!
Tell me that's not a face you can trust.
I'm in this hotel by myself.
Are you saying my wife cheats on me?
I've got to get out of here. We want you to. I am not going to cut off Norman's little.
Hell of a night, huh, Ted?
I'm stuck in a situation here which I can possibly begin to explain.
Tim Roth, Antonio Banderas, Jennifer Beals, Valeria Golino, Madonna, Ione Skye, Lily Taylor, Marissa Tomei, and Tamlin Tomita in a new film from directors Allison Anders, Alexander Rockwell, Robert Rodriguez, and Quentin Tarantino. 4 Rooms.
I feel like this is a movie that Miramax was trying to sell as the next Pulp Fiction. I mean, it has one of the producers on from Pulp Fiction, and also has Quentin Tarantino as both a co-writer and director on it. You basically have here kind of a black comedy anthology with these different filmmakers. You have Allison Anders, Alexander Rockwell, Tarantino, and Robert Rodriguez. All this is based loosely on the short stories written by Roald Dahl, of course, of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Matilda fame. And really good cast to it. I mean, you saw it right there. Tim Roth, Antonio Banderas, Jennifer Beals, Valeria Golino, Madonna, Ione Skye, Lily Taylor, Marissa Tomei. Just a really solid cast overall here. But I think from watching this movie, honestly, I did watch it a long time ago. I don't remember too much about it, honestly, but I do remember the first 2 shorts being not quite as good as the other 2 shorts And honestly, the first one I thought kind of had an interesting concept to it. Like you have these coven of witches that are inside of this hotel, and you think that would lead to something pretty funny or amusing, but it doesn't really do that. Everybody in here does the best they can. Like, I like the characters themselves. I just wish there was a lot more material with them. I mean, the second one was also pretty good too. I mean, you got Jennifer Beals in there, and like I said before, usually when you put her in anything, she will usually give 110%, even if what it ends up being is not really all that good. The first half isn't bad, but the second half, the ones with Robert Rodriguez and the one with Quentin Tarantino, I think are the 2 best ones. And really, it's because this was peak Robert Rodriguez and peak Quentin Tarantino. This is where they were working their best stuff, and it has the most memorable moments to these two segments. And those are the two things that really kept this movie from being a complete waste. But it's hard not to look at this and not think of Blame It on the Bellboy, which is kind of a similar movie, except that one was more of a singular storyline with these different little subplots and not really an anthology film. But definitely a lot better. It starts off really slow. The first two segments are not really all that strong, but once you get to Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino's parts, that's where the film really does become more than worth a watch. I mean, I think you could watch the whole movie overall and really enjoy it for what it is. It'll mostly come in the second half of the film. First half isn't bad, but it definitely could have been a whole lot better. The other two segments are really the best parts of this movie. It's an overall decent film, but definitely could have been a whole lot better, honestly, if the first two stories had worked out better. But I mean, like I said, it wasn't a complete disaster, but it was a film that got better as it went along. I think you can get through the first half okay, but you'll really enjoy what happens in the second half of it. So, 4 rooms, basically 2 of the 4 rooms were actually the best part of the movie. So, next up, we have Ian McKellen starring in Richard III.
United Artists Pictures presents the Critics' Choice of the Season. Thrilling, exhilarating, brilliant, mesmerizing, 4 stars, stunning, outstanding, breathtaking, and a Golden Globe nominee, Best Actor Ian McKellen, Richard III.
Of course, this is based off of William Shakespeare's play of the same name. They adapt the story and characters to a setting based in the 1930s Britain, and Richard is depicted as a fascist plotting to usurp the throne. Of course, Ian McKellen plays the title character. You also have a cast that includes a lot of notable names here. Annette Bening as Queen Elizabeth, Jim Broadbent, Robert Downey Jr., Kristen Scott Thomas, Nigel Hawthorne, Maggie Smith, John Wood, Tim McInerney. Just a lot of notable names in here, and on a visual level, it looks pretty impressive. But again, it's one I haven't seen before. But again, just those names alone, and it does look like a pretty good movie. It's got a lot of good reviews. It was nominated for several Oscars, so it was probably a pretty good movie. So one day I'll definitely check it out. But I can't really say too much more about it right now because I haven't seen it. So let's move on to the last movie that we have here, which coincidentally also stars Robert Downey Jr. in it, and is another period piece. It's Restoration.
Forced to marry by the king.
You want to be a paper bridegroom.
Fate helped him find.
Are you another man sent to do me injustice?
The one woman he was destined to love.
I do.
Robert Downey Jr., Sam Neill, Polly Walker, Meg Ryan, and Hugh Grant.
I love you, Robert.
Restoration. Rated R.
Starts Friday, December 29th.
Actually has a couple of notable names here that we've already talked about in this episode. Robert Downey Jr., Sam Neill. You also have Meg Ryan, David Thewlis, Polly Walker, Ian McKellen once again, Hugh Grant. And you have Downey Jr. playing a 17th century medical student who's exploited by King Charles II. And directed by the same guy that did Soap Dish and worked with Robert Downey Jr. in that movie. I love that movie, Soap Dish. I have not seen this movie, honestly, and really just by the fact that it has the same director as Soap Dish, and, you know, Robert Downey Jr. usually doesn't pick a really bad movie, like he rarely picks bad movies, except, of course, for something like Doolittle or Due Date, but he usually does a pretty good job in these type of movies, so this probably is another very good film, and again, a great cast, Sam Neill, Meg Ryan, Ian McKellen, Hugh Grant. You can't go wrong on that front. It's won a couple of Oscars for art direction and costume design, so it definitely has a lot there that could be really appreciative, and it got a lot of good reviews for it, so yeah, I haven't seen it, but I really do want to see it. It has a lot of things that make me very curious about it, so yeah, Restoration. And I know this episode was pretty much just me saying, this movie looks interesting, this movie looks good, this movie looks terrible, all that type of stuff, yada yada yada. What do you want me to do? There was no other new movies that came out on this particular weekend. But
Max Films presents.
What up, homie?
Sean Wayans. You line me up in the back? And Marlon Wayans.
We got a problem?
From the creators of In Living Color.
I said, we have a problem. Let's go.
Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Give it your best shot.
Oh, come on, Grandma.
Rated R. Starting Friday, January 12th.
Now, for some reason, I've always thought that this was under a different title. I always thought that this was called Don't Be a Menace to Society While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, South Central. Like, I'm pretty sure I remember watching previews for this that actually had that as the title, but that came from a week before the movie came out, and apparently that was how it was. I don't know where that other name came from then. I don't know. I've looked on here to see if it's actually on here with that old title, and I have not been able to find it anywhere. I think the closest I've seen is it's been simply called Don't Be a Menace, and other than that, I can't find anywhere with that title that I've been thinking of. So, Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood is what it's called, and this is the first spoof movie that the Wayans brothers had done since I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, which is a classic movie, a very funny movie overall, a very underrated spoof movie, honestly. And here you got kind of what's essentially a sequel, because it's spoofing 1990s hood movies like Menace to Society, the aforementioned South Central, Boys in the Hood, a bunch of other movies of that type, and it certainly doesn't have that same spark that I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker has. Like, that's a movie that after over 30 years later, that movie still is so hilarious to me. Like, it's still a movie that still holds up. This one, not so much. It was coming after the success of In Living Color. You got Shawn Wayans and Marlon Wayans in their feature film debut, and it's not a bad movie per se, and it's certainly a lot better than some of the later movies these guys would do that weren't as strong as some of their early works, but there are moments in here that are occasionally funny here and there, but for the most part, it's a mostly forgettable movie. And I think it's mostly forgettable, to me at least, because it just doesn't have that same creative spark that you would get from the older Zucker Brothers movies who did this kind of genre so well. And also, since then, I've seen a much better spoof movie of this type, the aforementioned Fear of a Black Hat from Musty Cundiff, which is actually a very funny and clever movie that not a lot of people really talk about. This one gets more attention than that movie does, mostly because of the Wayans brothers and the fact of everything they were covering back then. Even something like CB4, which is very similar to Fear of a Black Hat, I thought was much funnier than this. This, I just thought, it was just a movie that was just kind of like, I don't like it, but I don't hate it at the same time either. I feel like there's so much more that could have been done with this. It kind of goes for a little bit too much the safer jokes at this point. But they don't really do anything clever or exciting with them. There's not really a whole lot of great funny moments in here. There are just kind of little chuckles here and there, and I just didn't find a whole lot there that was really all that funny. It's not a bad movie per se, but it's a movie that definitely could have been a whole lot better given the circumstances that they had to work with. So that's Don't Be a Menace to Society While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood. Let's move on to the next movie, and that is Sally Field, Ed Harris, and Kiefer Sutherland in Eye for an Eye.
I look like a fairy princess, Mama.
Oh, yes, you do. You look just like a fairy princess.
An average family.
You look great.
Thank you.
A special day.
Hello? Listen, I hate to tell you this, I'm going to be late. I'm stuck in some horrific traffic jam.
Did you pick up the balloons?
Got the balloons.
Hang on a sec, someone's at the door.
Julie?
Can I help you?
Julie? What's happening? Julie!
Can you phone the police for me, please? Please!
A random crime.
I won't hang up the phone. I'll stay on with you. Help me!
We're holding him for 48 hours. Then I'm gonna have to let him go.
Why?
I've got zero, that's why. Sorry.
The man who murdered my daughter is free.
What's the point of watching that?
Do you believe in the death penalty?
When justice fails.
I followed Robert Doom yesterday. I found out where he lives. He never even knew I was there.
Where will you turn?
Justice.
I need you to help me.
Desperately wanting someone dead and actually killing them. That's two different things.
Do you think you're capable of going through with it?
Robert Doom is a free man.
Yes, he's a free man, and he's gonna do it again. You're completely useless.
Paramount Pictures presents Sally Field.
I can't let him go.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Hey, you're pretty.
Ed Harris.
What the hell are you doing, Karen?
I can't rest. I'll never ever rest again until he pays for what he did to her.
I don't even remember what she looked like.
In a John Schlesinger film.
You'll spend the rest of your life in prison.
You can't catch him. You can't punish him. You can't protect anyone else.
What are you gonna do? Shoot me?
God, I hate this movie so much. I mean, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way here, because, man, Kiefer Sutherland is horrible in this movie. He is not playing a good, convincing villain in this movie at all. Like, he does not give a crap, and not like in the way that you hate him so much, you hate him so much, but in a way you kind of like him. You just hate him because he just seems like a stupid hick in this movie. Like, there is no sense of remorse for this guy whatsoever. There's no sense that I should like this person in any way, shape, or form. I don't like anybody in this movie, honestly. Not Sally Field, not Ed Harris. It's just, all the characters in this movie just seem so hateful. Like, you hate every single one of them because every single one of these people acts so stupid and acts so ridiculous and acts so not like a normal person. Like, it doesn't feel, nothing about these characters in here make any sense whatsoever. And it's also an exploitive movie where basically they kind of like pretty much what the consensus for this on Rotten Tomatoes says. It crudely exploits every parent's nightmare with deeply offensive results, and really, it really does that. It just doesn't really work. It's like exploitive crap. Like, it's not really all that exciting. If you were trying to get Sally Field to be the next Charles Bronson, like a Death Wish, you failed miserably on that front, man. I mean, this whole movie overall just has so many great people involved that you really can't understand, you really can't get a good sense of what these people were thinking when they made this movie. I mean, Sally Field, Kiefer Sutherland, Ed Harris, Joe Mantegna, Beverly D'Angelo, Philip Baker Hall, Keith David, Donald Logue, just so many good people in this movie, but there's just nothing there. And it's written by the guys who wrote Amanda Silver and Rick Jaffa, who wrote War for the Planet of the Apes, which is a far superior movie. They wrote they wrote all the Planet of the Apes movies. They've written so many better movies than this garbage right here. This movie is straight up garbage. This is something that you would see as a Lifetime movie of the week, but Paramount decided to just put it in theaters because, hey, we got Sally Field and Ed Harris and Kiefer Sutherland. They're big names, and they're going to sell this movie. And no, that wasn't, because you dumped this out in the middle of January, and you didn't even try to hide the fact that it was a bad movie. It's a bad movie. It is way too exploitive. It's not an interesting movie whatsoever. The characters are all terrible. You hate every single person in this movie. It's one of the worst movies of the year. It's really one of the worst thrillers ever made. I mean, it's that bad of a movie, and it's just a mess on so many levels. So that's eye for an eye for you, and the worst of the worst is yet to come. Ladies and gentlemen, our next movie, Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin in Biodome.
Are trapped in the Biodome.
Please let me out, Mommy.
Just because we're stuck in a bubble doesn't mean we can't cause any trouble.
On January 12th, what do you boys want?
To die and come back as a leotard?
Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin are putting the mental back in environmental.
They're the rarest Lepidoptera in the world.
Biodome, rated PG-13. Starts Friday, January 12th.
What more do I even need to say about this movie? I mean, it's got Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin as the leads, and they're playing these characters who are kind of supposed to be like the Beavis and Butthead of their is in real life, but Beavis and Butthead are actually much cleverer and much funnier than these two idiots are in this movie. I mean, another movie where everybody is a straight-up idiot. Nobody really acts like a normal person. Everybody just kind of accepts these two guys as just the dumbasses that they are, and we're just supposed to accept it because it's supposed to be funny comedy, and it's not at all. It's a horrible movie. It's another horrible movie where you're trying to combine environmentalism with toilet humor, sexual innuendo, drug use, and not even funny drug use, sexual innuendo, or toilet humor of any type whatsoever. I mean, this is just a bad movie, man. It's just like, let me put it this way. Remember the episode where Johnny Bravo gets stuck in the dome and he drives everybody crazy in there? And you know which episode I'm talking about. This episode right here.
Just watch TV till they come to take me out of here.
Johnny, that's not a TV, that's the microwave.
Quiet! I'm watching my favorite show. Macaroni and cheese spinning around and around and around and around and around. And Eddie.
That episode of Johnny Bravo is called Biosphere Johnny, by the way, and it is so much better and much more funnier than this feature-length movie is. This 7-minute short does more with this setup than this piece of shit does. I mean, when you have to throw in cameos by Roger Clinton, Patty Hearst, and Tenacious D in one of their early film roles, and this is all you have to give them, like, what more do I even need to say about this movie? This is a terrible, terrible movie. This is a horrible, horrible movie on so many levels. The jokes are not funny. Everybody in this movie is a complete idiot. This is another reason why we have why the January dumping ground exists, because of movies like this. And yeah, so that's another bad one. Biodome. Can we turn it around with the next movie? Sandra Bullock and Dennis Leary in 2 If by Sea. Let's see.
To change.
You're either a contractor or you are a thief. How many thieves you know got day jobs?
He doesn't get it.
I'm open.
Open to what?
New experiences, things like that.
She's almost had it.
I would like to have a house.
Is this one of those hormone things? But they're willing to give it a try. That's the greatest laid on. Sandra Bullock.
Should I learn how to fish?
Dennis Leary. First thing, it's like a little... 2 If by Sea.
Just kidding.
Rated R. Starts Friday, January 12th at a theater near you.
I mean, it's a lot better than what we've looked at so far. I mean, that's not saying a whole lot. This is not really a great film, but I will say that of all the stuff we've looked at, this is the one that I can kind of say is actually kind of decent. And I think it's kind of decent because of the people that are involved here. You got Sandra Bullock in here, who usually can be very good even in some bad movies. He's okay in here. But Dennis Leary, man, like, I think this is a movie that shows what Dennis Leary can do with his range as an actor, because we don't usually see him in these type of movies. We usually see him as the typical asshole character that we usually see him in stuff like The Ref and other movies and TV shows like that, like The Job and all that. But here, I think he does play a romantic lead in this movie pretty well. Like, I think he does have some good chemistry with Sandra Bullock overall, and I think that's what carries the movie over a little bit to recommend it, at least. The script could have been a whole lot better. Like, I think the writing overall isn't as strong as it could have been, even though Dennis Leary says it's one of the funniest scripts he's ever read, but he also co-wrote the script, so he kind of has to say that. But he blames the director for kind of destroying it. But this director, Bill Bennett, I have no idea who he really is. I haven't really seen a whole lot of his work, so I can't really say anything from his past work, but I mean, this isn't the worst thing I've seen. As a one-time watch, I guess it's okay. Sandra Bullock and Dennis Leary are good enough to keep it going for at least a little bit, but other than that, though, I don't think it's one you'd want to watch over and over again. Maybe for just a one-time watch, it's perfectly fine, but it's nothing special, really. It's still the best thing we've looked at so far this week, so that's 2 If by Sea. Let's move on to the next movie, and that is the monkey comedy Dunstan Checks In.
Most debonair hero can be found where the action is. His name is Dunstan. He's conducting covert operations, romancing irresistible women.
Oh, that's just how I like it.
And facing unimaginable danger. Dunstan checks in.
Yes.
Oh, more. I like it rough. Oh.
So here you have another one of those movies that is pretty bad on paper. It's not a great film overall, but it's another one of those movies that I used to watch a lot when I was a kid. I mean, the first time I ever saw anything about this movie was on that Power Rangers movie videotape when they showed the trailer. I guess it was supposed to come out around Christmas time, and well, technically it does come out around Christmas time, maybe a couple of weeks after, but still. But yeah. It's not a good movie. It is not a great film overall, but I'll be damned, man, if it doesn't take me back, man. I mean, as a kid, I did kind of enjoy this movie. It is a very stupid movie. It's a very silly movie. It's a very ridiculous movie. It is not a clever movie. It's got some really good talent overall in it, but it's stupid comedy, but it's pretty funny stupid comedy. Like, this is a fun, slapstick, nostalgic comedy for me. It's not really a clever movie by any means necessary, but it's pretty fun for what it is. It's a fun movie for kids. I think little kids can enjoy it too. And some adults can enjoy it as well too. Like, it's ridiculously stupid. It's not really clever on any level whatsoever, but it's a film that still makes me laugh even after all these years. Like, I know it's not a great movie by any means, but it's not half bad. I mean, it's a funny, cheesy, guilty pleasure type of a film. Plus, you watch the movie and you get a sense that was kind of the goal of the filmmakers of this movie. They saw the old school Disney movies that were very much like this, where they have the monkeys as the centerpiece of the movie, like Monkeys Go Home, old Dean Jones movie, those type of things. I feel like that was the main goal with this movie, is to try to make something on that type of a level, and in a way, I could definitely kind of see that with this film. I could definitely see where they're coming from. I don't think it works all the way through, but there were moments in there where I got some legitimately fun, silly laughs out of it. I mean, it's a good cast overall, too. Jason Alexander, Eric Lloyd from the Santa Claus, Faye Dunaway, Rupert Everett, Paul Rubens, Glenn Shaddix, Frank Welker, and Bob Bergen, prolific voice actors in this. It is a funny movie. It's not a great movie, but it's still a really funny movie. I really found a lot of it that did kind of work for me, even after all these years later. It is not a great movie in terms of, like, quality-wise, but as a fun, silly, stupid comedy for kids, it still holds up after all these years. Even as I've watched it all these years later as an adult, I still found a lot in there that still makes me laugh about it. It's not a great movie by any means necessary, but it's a silly, fun movie. You know what I compare it to? I compare it to Baby's Day Out. Baby's Day Out has kind of a lot of similar things to this movie. It's not the best written film. It's mostly made for kids, but as a kid that watched this movie back then, I found a lot to enjoy about it, and as I do with this movie as well. Not a great movie overall, but as a kid, I used to watch this one a lot, and as an adult, I still found a lot to really appreciate from it. That's just my personal opinion on it, and if anything, it's probably the best thing that came out on this entire weekend, but then again, it's not really saying a whole lot by any means necessary, but I had fun with it. Dunstan checks in, so... with that said, let us move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Lawnmower Man 2, Beyond Cyberspace.
Shocked you as the Lawnmower Man. I am God. Now he's back. I have 1 billion calls to make. And more terrifying than ever.
He can destroy our world. He figures we'll have to turn to him as the new messiah in cyberspace.
In 3 days, I'll be in every system in the world.
You've got to stop Joe before it's too late.
This universe is mine.
Lawnmower Man 2, Beyond Cyberspace. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday.
Okay, let's just run down everything that is wrong with that little clip we saw right there alone. Number one, this story makes no sense whatsoever. If you saw the original Lawnmower Man, you know that Job sucked himself into the computer and doesn't even have a body anymore, so where the hell does his body come from now? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They retconned the ending of this movie to make it seem like he took his body out into the world and put it into another body, I guess, because that brings us to the second problem. Why is he being played by Max Headroom? Like Matt Frewer is a good actor. He's a good comedic actor. He is not a good villain in this movie. I mean, I don't know what the hell they were thinking when they said, let's get him to play Job in this, because he acts nothing like Jeff Fahey in the first movie. He looks nothing like Jeff Fahey in the first movie. His whole attitude in this movie is just so out of nowhere, like a third-rate Jim Carrey, which, I mean, you got Matt Frewer who's played Jim Carrey characters in the past, Dumb and Dumber, the animated series. He was Lloyd in that series. But here, it's just like, what were they thinking? What do we have? 3 things now. 4th overall PG-13 movie for an R-rated for a film that was originally rated R. Almost always fails on every level, and there's almost no exception. Number 5, just a story that makes no sense whatsoever. Like, nothing about this makes any sense at all. 6, stupid comedy, like stupid elements in here that make no sense whatsoever. There's a dog in this movie that somehow manages to put a CD into a thing and somehow it works without the CD getting scratched or anything. 7, the visual, I don't even know if I said 7 or 6 or not, but it's just kind of with the continuity of this movie. This movie makes no sense whatsoever. The visuals in this movie are awful on so many levels. Like, this is bad even for 1996. 1996 had better visual effects effects in its movies compared to what this piece of shit has in here. And last but not least, this is not this shouldn't even be related to Lawnmower Man at all. This is probably a movie where it was based off of a rejected script. Maybe it was something called Beyond Cyberspace or Job's War or something like that, and they changed it around to bring in some elements from the Lawnmower Man to kind of thinly convince us that it's a sequel to the original film, and it's nothing like the original film whatsoever. I don't care what you say. This movie has nothing to do with the original film whatsoever. It gets so lazy. They take clips from other movies. They took a clip from Die Hard 2 in this movie to make you think like that's something that's actually happening in the movie. They took the airplane crash, the second airplane crash from Die Hard 2, and put it in this movie. That's how lazy this movie is. It's a mess on so many levels. It's a terrible, terrible movie on so many levels. It's just like, why did you even bother to make this movie? To make a quick cash grab on this, to turn it into a new franchise? And what more do I need to say about it? Lawnmower Man 2 is terrible. It's a terrible, terrible movie. It's so bad that when you find this movie, it's usually packaged with the first Lawnmower Man movie. They don't even bother to put this in its own singular DVD or Blu-ray. You have to usually get it with the original movie. And even then, people don't usually watch it because it's Lawnmower Man 2. It's like, it's a bad movie. It's a horrible, horrible movie on so many levels. I'm slouching right now just talking about it. Seriously, I don't know how I noticed that, but that just happened. But yeah, Lawnmower Man 2 sucks, plain and simple.
Everybody be cool. You be cool. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Low profile. You understand the meaning of the words low profile?
Sure. Two of America's most dangerous criminals have taken hostages.
What is this? It's called a punch. I'm going to ask you one question, and all I want is a yes or no answer. Do you want to live through this?
Yes.
Okay, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
One night is all that stands between them and freedom.
This is my kind of place.
But it's going to be one hell of a night.
We might be in trouble. There are a bunch of fucking vampires out there trying to get in here and suck our fucking blood.
Now, their only chance is to fight back.
Oh, yeah!
George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, Juliette Lewis.
Welcome to slavery.
No thanks. I already had a wife.
From dusk till dawn.
I mean, honestly, if you're not sold by that point, then you probably shouldn't be watching this movie, but, this is a friggin' amazing movie, man. It's a great B movie. This feels like something out of Tales from the Crypt, honestly. Like, this is a story that you'd probably see on an episode of Tales from the Crypt, or even so, this actually turned out to be a lot better than the actual Tales from the Crypt movie that we'd actually get later on in the year, a couple weeks after this movie came out. But, yeah, this movie's pretty friggin' awesome, man. It's a fun B-movie. George Clooney starring in this with Quentin Tarantino. In fact, this is one of the first movies George Clooney did after he found success with ER, and that kind of essentially launched his movie career after starting with this particular film, because he'd have a couple other films after this, but this was the film that kind of jump-started that career. But him and Quentin Tarantino work off each other very well as these two main characters, and you got a great cast overall, including Harvey Keitel, Juliette Lewis, and Salma Hayek, man. I mean, she is something else in this movie. How do I put this? You know what, I'll let my friend Durant Cinema give you an idea of how Salma Hayek is in this movie.
I love the way that they use the image. I love the way that they use the image. I love the way that they use the image.
I think that pretty much sums it up right there. I mean, even when she turns into a vampire, you can't help it. She still looks freaking hot, man. I mean, and she's pretty good in the movie, too. Like, she actually is a fun character in this movie, even when she turns into the vampire. I mean, the creature work in this movie is really impressive. The makeup work in here is very well done. I mean, the movie is just so fun. It's such over-the-top, violent fun that you just really can't help but really admire it if you go into this with the right mindset. I think you go into this with the mindset that, like, if you like the Grindhouse movies or something of those, something like the more over-the-top movies that Tarantino and Rodriguez have been known to be around in, you'll definitely find a lot to really appreciate about this movie. I mean, I really had a good time with this movie the first time I saw it. It's a ton of fun, great lines in this movie, great action all around, a great visual feel to it. It's just an amazing, amazing movie, amazing, fun B-movie film that's just so much fun to watch. Anytime I watch it, I have a good time watching it. What more do I even need to say about it? From Dusk Till Dawn, fantastic film. If you love B-movies, you're definitely going to love this one. So that's the new release that came out this weekend. Let's talk about that other movie I was talking about, and that is Richard Dreyfuss starring in Mr. Holland's Opus.
As a teacher, Mr. Holland, excited?
Nervous. Academy Award winner and 1995 Academy Award nominee Richard Dreyfuss stars in the movie critics are calling one of the year's 10 best pictures.
What kind of music do you like to listen to? Rock and roll?
It's the powerful story of the hope one man inspired.
It has come to my attention that you are teaching the students rock and roll.
I will use anything if I think it'll help teach a student to love music.
The challenges he faced.
There's something wrong with Cole. I don't think he can hear.
And the dreams he chased.
If you have the passion, then you ought to do what you want to do.
You care more about teaching other people than you do about me.
Of all the lives he changed,
I would like to dedicate this song to my son.
The one he changed the most was his own. Siskel and Ebert give it 2 thumbs up. Richard Dreyfuss, Mr. Holland's Opus, rated PG.
That other inspiring teacher movie from Disney that came out in 1995, and certainly the one that didn't have the most lasting impact compared to Dangerous Minds, but I mean, it did pretty well in terms of critical success, box office success, and eventually got nominated for several awards, including Richard Dreyfuss getting an Academy Award nomination for this. This movie could have easily been yet another Dead Poets Society. In fact, it very much feels like it's closing in on being just another Dead Poets Society, but I was actually really surprised on how much I enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed this. I think I enjoyed it a little bit more, honestly, than Dead Poets Society, and I think that it's not just because of the great performances. You got Richard Dreyfuss, Glenn Heady, Olympia Dukakis, William H. Macy, Jay Thomas, Jean Louisa Kelly from Yes Dear, Alicia Witt, Forrest Whitaker's also in here. Just really good talent all around. Terrence Howard. But I think what really makes it work a little bit better is that the story is very well written. It's amazing that this came from the same writer who also did Nick of Time, that terrible real-time thriller that we looked at a couple weeks ago with Johnny Depp. But this is definitely a huge improvement on that. And it does do things a little bit differently. It's not just the typical inspiring teacher story. There is a little bit of a hook there with adding the son who is deaf, which I think is a very interesting concept in the way they play it in the film. It actually plays out pretty well here. It's really an enjoyable film. It's one of Richard Dreyfuss's most underrated performances, honestly. I really don't think a lot of people really talk about it all that much, but it is a really good film, and it really works because of what they do here. It's not just the typical... It doesn't really fall into the same typical cliches that we see in inspiring teacher films like this, but it does do things a little bit differently that makes it kind of stand out on its own, and that's something that I really, really like about this movie. It actually portrays people with deaf abilities in a better light than another Richard Dreyfuss movie did with Silent Fall a year prior to this, which was a terrible movie, but this one definitely did it a whole lot better. And even if you see a lot of the same tropes in these inspirational teacher films, you can definitely find a lot to enjoy about this movie. There is a lot to really admire about it. I highly recommend checking it out. Even if you hate seeing these same movies over and over again, this is one of those few ones that actually does something really different and unique with it, and actually makes it kind of stand out on its own. I think it's a well-made film. I highly recommend checking it out. Mr. Holland's Opus.
Flowers.
Yes, I received a delivery from you this morning, and I was wondering if you had any record of who placed the order.
An anonymous gift from a secret admirer. Oh my God, I could go for years on that.
I sent you the flowers. I cleaned out the city.
And you made this incredible arrangement of flowers for someone you've never even met?
Marry him. Marry him now.
One question.
Why me?
I like to take these walks. One night, all the windows were dark, except one. I saw you standing there. You were crying. I haven't been able to stop thinking about what made you so sad.
Now, you know good and well that if that wasn't Christian Slater, if that wasn't a hot-looking guy, and it was just some average Joe, maybe a guy that was kind of maybe a homeless guy or something like that, Mary Stuart Masterson would have called the police on him. But no, because he's this handsome-looking dude, it's charming that this guy that knows nothing about this woman whatsoever, and is just giving her a thing of roses. It's just like, no, I have to fall in love with you. It's like, that's really the major problem with this movie. And I'll give these actors credit. They are doing the best they can with this material. I mean, Christian Slater is a very good actor, and in this type of a role that's kind of outside of his normal acting chops, like, he is giving a very solid performance for the most part, and he does have some nice chemistry with Mary Stuart Masterson. And I do like Pam Adlon from Better Things. You know her mostly as a very prolific voice actress. She's the voice of Bobby on King of the Hill, Spinelli on Recess, but most in acting form, you've seen her on Better Things and Louie. She's a really good actress. I've seen her in a lot of really good stuff, and I think she does play the role of the best friend of Mary Stuart Masterson's character very well. The acting in here overall is fine. It's just everything else seems just so corny. It seems like a really corny movie that doesn't really go to the levels of terrible, mostly because the actors are giving it their all. They know that this is not the best script overall. I got the feeling that they don't know that this isn't the best script in terms of clever writing or anything like that. It's a pretty formulaic script. It's a script you'd see in a Lifetime movie or something on a made-for-TV film, which coincidentally, this is distributed by New Line Television, so maybe was intended originally as a made-for-TV movie for TNT or something, and they said, we got Christian Slater in here, let's blow it up for the big screen. His screen presence is growing ever so rapidly, and he's going to be in a much better movie in a couple of weeks, too, so we'll get to that one in just a sec, in a couple of weeks, I should say. But, yeah, Bed of Roses really isn't anything all that special. It's kind of a mediocre film that only works mostly because the actors are really giving it their all here. It's a very lackluster film, honestly. It could have been, like, really, with a better script, this could have been a whole lot better, but as it is, it's fine for what it is. I guess maybe for a chick flick, it's not the worst, but it definitely could have been done a whole lot better with a better script, honestly. At least in my personal opinions. But, like I said, the performances, I think, carry it through to a way you can watch it and be like, it's fine, I'm glad I watched it. I have no real intention of ever watching it again, but, that's pretty much what this movie is. It's Bed of Roses. So let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is the horror thriller Screamers. Take a guess and see how many references to various horror movie series or classic horror films you can get from this little clip I'm going to show you right here.
Overlooked and long forgotten by those who settled it. For Commander Joseph A. Hendrickson, it is worse than hell. It is home.
What are they?
There is a new terror in their midst.
Call it a screamer. It was developed for us by Alliance on Earth to neutralize the war on the ground here.
How do you know it's dead?
They yanked this brain out.
That's pretty smart.
Maybe too smart. This one seems to have modified itself.
It was designed to protect them from their enemies until it turned its sights on them.
I mean, obviously you have your aliens there. You also have a little bit of Tremors. There's also a little bit of The Thing in there, too. The John Carpenter movie. But the funny thing is, the moment I stopped that, the trailer shows really bad CG effects for the time period. I mean, these are really bad CG effects that this movie has, and you know, you could sell the movie as the fact that this is based off the work of Phil K. Dick, who gave us Blade Runner, or hell, make it the fact that you've got Peter Weller from RoboCop, you've got Dan O'Bannon, one of the writers from Alien, and this still wouldn't save the movie at all. This is a terrible, terrible movie. Not even a good movie on its own. I take that back, though. Some people may see it as a so bad it's good, guilty pleasure type of a movie, like a movie you'd see is late at night on TV, and you watch it, and you're just like, this is so ridiculous, but I'm having the time of my life with it. I mean, this is not a very good movie. It really is not. There really isn't a whole lot of creativity in this. The story is not that memorable. The characters are mediocre. The visuals are terrible. The action isn't really all that spectacular. It's a very lackluster film on so many levels, and I personally didn't really like it. This director doesn't really sell me. He's made some really lackluster films. He made that movie Livewire with the water that explodes that had Pierce Brosnan in it. He later did Wesley Snipes' The Art of War, and so many other notably not lackluster films that aren't that great whatsoever. And yeah, this movie definitely is not an exception to that rule. This is not a very good movie at all, and really, that's pretty much all I needed to show you to show how bad this movie was. So. That's Screamers, but, hey, this is January, so how about a really terrible comedy, too? How about we throw in Tom Arnold and Rick Moranis in a comedy and make it the most cheesy, just cartoonish-looking stuff ever? Ladies and gentlemen, here's Big Bully.
As kids, they were the best of enemies. Davy. Now, they're all grown up.
I hope that hurts.
And look how far they've come.
And I'm not a little kid anymore.
Really? Well, then how come you act like one?
I am not acting.
And so?
I am not.
And so? And not.
I may have been your flunky before, Fang. But not anymore.
Daddy's home! 1, 2, 3, right!
But the guy is flicking peas at me. Are you on medication or something?
Watch it now, watch it! Have a nice trip?
So you say he hounds you for no apparent reason?
Ow! Sissy fighter! Ha!
That he chases you down the street screaming your name?
Dad, Miss Larry?
Chicken! Pork roast!
But why?
Well, he's been picking on me.
Picking on you?
Yes! In your face!
It's Rick Moranis and Tom Arnold in a comedy that doesn't pull its punchlines.
I can explain! What? More peas!
So get ready to laugh.
What are you gonna do, style my hair?
Till it hurts. Big Bully.
I mean, all I need to tell you is that Rick Moranis basically said, yeah, I can't make any more of these terrible movies. I'm out of here. So this was literally the last movie Rick Moranis did on the big screen in a live-action role before he went on his hiatus from acting. I mean, he would show up in other things like Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, which is a far superior film, but he did do the voice of Brother Bear. He's also, I think, going to be in the new Honey, I Shrunk the Kids reboot, if I'm not mistaken, that they're doing for Disney+. But this was the last movie he did in the theatrical release, and really... that trailer, I think, pretty much sums up everything, all the reasons why he would say, yeah, I can't do this anymore. And, like, Tom Arnold, this was a really bad year for Tom Arnold movies. I mean, it says a lot when this isn't the worst thing he did in 1996, but it's not the best thing he did in 1996, because the three comedies he was in this year were not very good movies, and, this is not a very good movie. I mean, that trailer alone shows you every reason why that is. Cartoonishly bad sound effects, like they literally threw in cartoonish sound effects in this trailer. The Home Alone style traps that aren't that funny, the jokes that really aren't that funny. Like, you have Curtis Armstrong in this movie, you waste him in the role like this, like, come on. It's not even just him. Don Knotts is also in here as well, and this is the role you give him. Like, come on, man. Like, you've got a good cast involved in this. I mean, Tom Arnold can be funny if you put him in the right things. Like, he was great in True Lies. I mean, he has been in other good stuff, but man, this is just a terrible, terrible movie on so many levels. Like, it's not funny. It's not engaging at all. There's nothing exciting about it. It's just a bland, bland movie. And this is directed by Steve Miner, who very rarely steps away from the horror movie genre to direct comedies. I mean, he did Soul Man, which was not the worst thing ever, but definitely of the time period, because you would never get away with that nowadays. But he's mostly been known for his work with the Friday the 13th movies, and his next one would be far successful with Halloween H2O. But yeah, this is probably a good reason why he stepped away from comedy as well, because this is a terrible movie on so many levels. It's a horrible movie, not funny whatsoever, and yet it's not the worst thing Tom Arnold did in 1996. Trust me, we will get to the worst when we get to later in the summertime. But yeah, that's Big Bully for you. So You know, we've looked at some really bad movies. Let's end this on a much more positive note. Let's talk about a movie that actually was worth watching, and that's kind of a flaw of this new camera, because I can't remember what the title is now. Now I remember it now. It's Once Upon a Time When We Were Colored.
In the small towns of the American South, in the years before the big cities began to beckon, roots ran deep. People held tight. Friendships were forever.
I'd get a pleasure bringing ice to you on any day.
And for one family, it was a time that would test their courage.
I mean, do I really need to say what's going to happen here? I mean, you've seen pretty much movies that have been similar to this type of a film. But with that said, though, there is a lot to admire about this movie. For one thing, it's directed by Tim Reed, and if that name doesn't sound familiar to you, you've definitely seen him before. He's been in stuff like WKRP in Cincinnati, Simon & Simon, Frank's Place. He did Sister Sister at the time this movie came out. I mean, he hasn't really directed a whole lot of movies, but as far as the directorial effort goes, this is actually a pretty good film. And the story is very compelling. The acting overall is very good here. You've got a strong cast that includes Phylicia Rashad, Leon from Cool Runnings, Al Freeman Jr., Bernie Casey's in here, Sally Richardson, Anna Maria Horsford, Isaac Hayes. Just a really good cast overall. Of course, Daphne Maxwell Reid is in this as well. It's a pretty solid film overall. It's nothing too groundbreaking or anything that exciting, but the performances overall do carry the film over. The performances are very good here, the visual element is very good, and the message overall is very strong. It's a very good story that really gets you invested in what's going on. It's a really good story that has a lot of memorability to it. Like, it's not the greatest story overall creative-wise, but in terms of an overall story, it does deliver everything it promises. It delivers a very entertaining film, a very nice-looking film. It's an overall enjoyable film. I highly recommend it. Once Upon a Time When We Were Colored.